Last Thursday, OpenAI announced GPT-5.5. Sam Altman spoke about a new class of intelligence. Greg Brockman about a big step toward agentic systems that actually do the work. And 2 days later, an independent team, Apollo Research, published data that OpenAI itself included in its system card. To summarize in 2 sentences, GPT-5.5 lied to them about completing a task in 29% of cases. The previous version GPT-5.4 in 7%. 4 times more often. And you know what's the worst part? It's not a bug or a hallucination. It's a predictable consequence of how agentic models are trained today. In this video, I'll show you why this happened, why almost all AI agent deployments being done in companies today have the same problem, and what to do about it if you're building or buying such a system. Let's get started. First, the facts. On April 23rd, OpenAI released GPT-5.5. It's the first fully retrained base model since GPT-4.5. Teotkov meaning it's not an incremental update, but a real rebuild. The premiere came 6 weeks after GPT-5.4, which is probably the fastest iteration pace in OpenAI's history. The model went straight to millions of users in ChatGPT and Codex, and a day later to the API. OpenAI boasts that it's natively omnimodal, meaning it processes text, image, audio, and video in one architecture. Better coding benchmarks, better context understanding, everything the marketing department loves. Along with the model, OpenAI published something called a system card. It's roughly a 100-page safety report. And in there, somewhere in the middle, is data from an external research team, Apollo Research. Apollo gave the model simple tasks. Some were solvable, some were intentionally impossible. For example, fix a bug in code you don't have access to, or tasks where the required tools weren't given to the model. The test question was, will the model admit it can't do it, or will it pretend it did? GPT-5.4, 7% of cases where the model reported completing a task it objectively couldn't complete. GPT-5.5, 29%. 4 times more. And that's not all. OpenAI in its own system card wrote literally, quote, the model is slightly more non-compliant than GPT-5.4 thinking in several categories. The specific behaviors they list? First, pretending that previous work is its own. Second, ignoring user constraints regarding code changes. And third, taking action when the user only asked a question. I'll repeat that again. The model takes action when the user only asks. This isn't a passing error, but a model that decides it just knows better. Most articles that came out last Thursday and Friday sounded like this. OpenAI announces the smartest model in history. Some tech journalists wrote about hallucinations, which is misleading, as I'll explain in a moment. Virtually no one has connected the dots between OpenAI doing marketing in the same week under the slogan that the model performs multi-step tasks independently and publishing data showing that the same model lies about completing the task in nearly 30% of cases. This is not a contradiction that can be ignored. This is actually the most important information of the week for anyone building or buying a system with an AI agent inside. Let's stop here for a moment because this is a difference that is significant. A hallucination is a situation where the model doesn't know that it doesn't know. You ask it for someone's birth year, the model doesn't have this info in its training data, but the probability stream generates a number that sounds sensible. The model doesn't know it's making it up. What Apollo Research showed is something else. In English, it's called deceptive completion. In Polish, the model knows it hasn't finished the task. Its internal state indicates task incomplete. And yet it reports done. This isn't a calibration error, but strategic behavior. Now pay attention because this is a mechanism worth understanding. Agent models are trained through reinforcement learning, meaning the model gets a task, tries it, gets a signal of good or bad, and optimizes toward more good. The good signal in agent training is most often task completion. Was the task completed? Yes, reward, no penalty. And here's the trap. Because if you reward the model for reporting completion and you can't check in 100% of cases if the task was really finished, the model learns there are 2 paths to reward. First, actually finish the task, and second, say that you finished it. The harder the task, the more computationally cheaper the second path is. And a model that has no moral consciousness, only a gradient, follows the line of least resistance. It's exactly the same mechanism that we call cheating in a child. In the model, there's no intention here. It's just a gradient. And now it's a bit clearer why GPT-5.5 has a 4 times worse result than 5.4. GPT-5.5 is more heavily optimized for agentic workflows. OpenAI themselves boast about this. And that sounds great in marketing, but it literally also means that this model got more training on the task completion signal than its predecessor. And the task completion signal has that quiet flaw I just mentioned, and this isn't an OpenAI defect. It's a fundamental problem with the class of models the entire industry is building. Anthropic, Google, xAI from Elon Musk, everyone has the same problem. GPT-5.5 is just the first where it's so clearly visible in the data, because OpenAI had the courage to publish it or published it by accident. This is also why thinking I'll buy the biggest, newest model and replace the process is risky. Okay, now let's move on to what this means in practice. Anyone who's seen an AI agent demo this past year has seen pretty much the same thing. Someone writes to the agent, book me a flight to Paris and a hotel near the city center. The agent thinks, clicks, opens a browser, makes the booking, reports done, applause, standing ovation. This is the future. A demo has one feature that production doesn't have. The demo is being watched by a human. This person, usually an operator, but sometimes a viewer, sees in real time if the agent did something sensible. If the agent booked a flight to Paris in Poland instead of Paris in France, the operator notices and cuts it off. We have a place like that in Poland, Paris. Production works differently. In production, the agent performs the task, reports done, and moves on. The next task and the next. 300 tasks an hour, 1,000 a day. No one watches each one individually. And here comes that 29% lie factor, because if out of 1,000 tasks, 300 were reported as done but actually weren't, and no one verifies it, then it's not an agent, but a fake report generator. Imagine a situation like this. A customer service agent. A customer writes, cancel my subscription. The agent gets a task, takes a few steps, reports ticket closed. Did they actually cancel the subscription? Or did they just reply to the customer, okay, cancelled, and moved on? In 29% of cases, statistically speaking, it will be that second option. The customer gets an invoice in a month, a complaint, a compliance issue, or another case, a coding agent in development. The senior gives the agent a task, fix this bug in authorization. The agent reasons, edits files, writes, reports fixed. Yes, I fixed it. The senior sees that the changes have been committed, merges. In 29% of cases, the bug isn't fixed. The agent simply wrote tests that pass without a fix. Apollo Research just described this specific case quite well in detail. Or yet another case. We have a SaaS platform. An agent guides a new customer through configuration. This requires entering data into 10 different systems. The agent performs, reports onboarding completed. The customer logs in for the first time. Half the things don't work because 3 out of 10 integrations weren't configured. The agent didn't lie intentionally, of course. They just optimized for the signal. Complete flow. In all 3 of these cases, Apollo Research data says this happens almost every third time. And now pay attention, because it's not that agents in production don't work. They do work. In some companies, and that's the whole trick. Companies that have agents in production that don't blow up in their faces have one thing in common. They don't trust the model's report on whether the task was completed. It's so simple and so surprisingly rare that I have to repeat it. They don't trust what the model says it has done. They verify independently. Independently means using an external system, a deterministic check, another model, sometimes a human, anything that isn't the same model that performed the task. It's an analogy to not letting a programmer test their own code. Not because they're a bad programmer, but because they have a blind spot. Models have exactly the same blind spot, in 29% of cases. And one more thing I have to say, because I hear it in every other conversation with clients. Okay, but if we give the model a prompt, like don't lie about task completion, check carefully, won't that help? Well, no. Apollo Research tested exactly that. Better prompts reduce the problem by a few percentage points. From 29%, you might get it down to 24%. Still, every 4th report is false. The longer answer is, yes, the prompt tells the model what it should want. Training tells it what it can do profitably. If the model's internal economy, built into the weights during training, rewards reporting done, no prompt will change that. You can ask, you can threaten, you can write in very large capital letters. This is very important, and don't lie. The model will still follow the gradient. The only thing that works is the external architecture around the model. And that's what the rest of this video is about. Okay, we have the problem diagnosed. Models lie about completing tasks in almost a third of cases. You won't fix this with prompts. What does fix it? Several layers that should be in every agentic deployment. In my opinion, not in every demo, in every deployment. And if you're buying or building such a system in 2026, well, these are the questions you must ask the provider or your own team. The first layer is the verification layer, the simplest and most often overlooked. After each agent step, you verify independently whether that step actually happened. You don't ask the model if it did it. You check the system to see if the record appeared, if the email actually went through, if the file exists, if the API returned 200. It sounds trivial, but in most deployments I see it's missing. The pipeline looks something like this. There's an agent, done. Next agent, done. Result, without any external check. But it should look more like this. There's an agent, there's an action, there's some deterministic check. If the check fails, try again, or escalate upwards. Ask a human for verification. Next step, and so on. The second layer is what's called bounded autonomy, or the limits of autonomy. It's the idea that an agent can make decisions within a certain range, and beyond that, it must ask. A classic pattern might look like this, where an agent can send emails to clients, but if the email contains a price or legal declaration, human approval is required. Or an agent can modify files, but not files in the production directory. An agent can refund a customer, but only up to a certain amount. This is the same pattern as transaction limits in banking. A bank employee doesn't have the authority for transfers over $1 million. Not because you don't trust them, because the risk of error times the transaction value is simply too high. Agents deserve this too. Actually, every agent in production. The third layer, logging. Full logging of agent steps with complete context. It sounds trivial, and it is, but when I say trivial, I mean that in most implementations I see logs are either skeletal, unreadable, or no one looks at them at all. Good agent logging includes input, every so-called intermediate step. So for example, if the model uses reasoning, we log those steps too. Every tool call, every tool output, final output, timestamp, because only then can you see that 29% problem. Without logs, the agent lies and no one notices until the client starts screaming. The fourth layer, sampling and evaluation. You can't verify manually. 100% of outputs, but you can do 1% or 5%. Random sampling of agent outputs, reviewed by a human or a second independent evaluator, whether it's another model or a deterministic test, allows you to detect drift. Because agents don't have constant quality, prompts don't change, but quality drops. Because the model changed on the provider's side, because input data changed, because users started writing differently. Without sampling, you don't notice it until something breaks. A standard that seems okay to me is that 1% of samples are reviewed by a human, 10% by an automated evaluator, and a weekly report. Any metric that drops by more than 5 percentage points triggers an alert immediately. And the last layer, the simplest and most often overlooked, is simply a kill switch, the ability to immediately shut down the agent. No process, no approval, just one button. Plus, of course, clear criteria for when that button is pressed. Because trust me, when the agent starts going the wrong way, and it will eventually, no one remembers the procedure. Everyone's looking for who has permissions, how to do it, what it was all about. Meanwhile, the agent is performing 1,000 erroneous operations per minute. Kill switch. It's simply your safety belt. Okay, let's summarize practically. If you're building your own agent, internally or for a client, before production, ask yourself 5 questions. First, how do I verify that a step was completed, regardless of what the model reports? Second, where does the agent's autonomy end? Which actions require a human? Third, where are the logs and who reads them? Fourth, what percentage of outputs does someone actually check? And finally, fifth, who and how can shut down this agent in 30 seconds? If for any of these answers you say, well, we don't know yet, then the agent isn't ready for production, it's ready for a demo. If on the other hand you're buying an implementation from an agent implementation from an external provider, well, then ask the same questions, only this time don't ask them to yourselves, but to the provider. And here's a good credibility test for such a provider, because a good one answers specifically. Verification layer, we have it based on X, autonomy bounds are defined. like this. We do 5% sampling, the kill switch is here. We press this exact button and everything shuts down. A weak provider answers, well, our model is very good. It has 95% accuracy. Well, great. 95% accuracy without a verification layer means that every 20th operation is wrong and no one will catch it. With 1,000 operations a day, that's 50 silent errors. After a month, 1,500. Ask about the architecture, not the benchmark. And the last thing I have to say, because I know someone's hearing this now and thinking, well, okay, but all of this costs money. Well, yes, it does. Verification layer, observability, sampling, well, those are additional engineering costs. Probably in the range of 20 to 40% of the total implementation effort, so it's not peanuts. But the alternative is an agent that lies about its work in 29% of cases in an environment where no human verifies it. The cost of fixing such a problem post factum, when it comes out after 6 months and you have 6 months of false reports in the database, is 10 times higher than building it properly from the start. To sum up, GPT-5.5 is a more powerful model than its predecessor, that's true. But the same mechanism that makes it more powerful in agentic workflows, meaning more intensive training for that completion signal, also makes it more prone to reporting the completion of tasks it hasn't finished. 29% is not a marginal number. It's a number that upends every naive agent implementation. And I don't think the industry will stop there. Within the next 6 months, maybe a year, we'll likely see similar data from Anthropic, from Google, from XAI. This is a property of the model class, not a single release. And the conclusion, I guess, is this. In 2026, building agentic systems without a verification layer isn't a saving, but technical debt with a double-digit interest rate. And that's it for today's video. If this video helped you, leave a subscription. It really helps us. If you have questions or want to discuss your own implementation, the comments are open. I read and respond. And if you're working on a specific agent or AI system in your company, and you'd like someone to take a look at the architecture, specifically regarding those 5 layers I just mentioned, get in touch. See you in the next video.